Let me paint you a picture first. You live on Oak Street, Santa Monica. Not the fancy part with the beachfront mansions. The grungy stretch where the sidewalks are cracked and the streetlights flicker like dying fireflies every night. It is 2:17 a.m. and you are sprawled on your couch, a half-empty can of soda sweating condensation onto the stained carpet. The television hums with a late-night horror movie, but your eyes are glazed. Half asleep, your fingers picking at a loose thread on your hoodie. Outside, the ocean breeze carries the faint smell of salt and gasoline, the kind that sticks to your throat if you breathe too deep. Then it happens. No warning, no build-up. Just a flash of red so bright, it sears through your closed eyelids, like someone has pressed a red-hot iron to the back of your skull. You jolt upright, your soda can clattering to the floor, the liquid fizzing as it soaks into the carpet. Your ears ring, loud, high-pitched, like 1,000 mosquitoes trapped inside your skull, buzzing so hard it makes your teeth ache. You reach up to cover your ears, but the sound does not fade. It just echoes, bouncing off the walls of your tiny apartment, mixing with the sudden silence from the television. You glance at the screen. It is black, dead, no static, no glow, just a void. Your phone, which was charging on the coffee table, is also dark. No power, no lights, no hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. The entire world has gone quiet, save for the ringing in your ears and the rapid thud of your heart, which feels like it is trying to bash its way out of your chest. The air changes next. It was cool, crisp, that typical coastal night chill that makes you pull your hoodie tighter. But now, it is thick, oppressively thick, like breathing through a wet blanket. The salt smell is gone, replaced by something else, something ancient and slimy, like rotting seaweed mixed with a sweet, cloying nectar that sticks to the inside of your nose. They call it seabed nectar. Later, you will learn that name when you are clinging to life, gasping for air. But right now, it is just a stench that makes your stomach twist into a knot. You gag, your throat contracting, saliva pooling in your mouth as you fight the urge to throw up. Your skin prickles, not from cold, but from a sudden wave of heat, like someone turned up a heater to full blast in a room with no windows. Your forehead beads with sweat, and when a drop rolls down your cheek, it is warm, almost hot, unlike the cool sweat of fear you are used to. You stand up, your legs wobbly, like your knees have turned to jello. The floor feels uneven, as if the apartment is tilting, slowly, imperceptibly, like a ship caught in a gentle current. You stumble toward the front door, your hand groping along the wall for balance. The wall is cold, colder than it should be, and when your fingers brush against it, you feel a faint, damp slime, like mold or something worse. You pause, your breath catching, but the ringing in your ears is too loud, the stench too overwhelming. You need to get outside, to get air, to see what the hell that red flash was. You reach for the doorknob, your fingers wrapping around the cold metal. It is so cold it burns, and you almost let go, but you grip harder, twisting it open with a creak that echoes through the silent apartment. The first thing that hits you is the noise, or the lack of it. Oak Street is never quiet, even at 2 a.m. There is the hum of cars on the freeway a few blocks away, the bark of a stray dog, the laughter of a group of drunks stumbling home. But now, nothing. No cars, no dogs, no laughter, just the sound of your own breathing, ragged and uneven, and the distant, low gurgle of something you cannot place. Then you look up, and your blood runs cold. Colder than the doorknob, colder than the wall, colder than the deepest part of the ocean. The street in front of you is gone. Not damaged, not destroyed. Gone. Where there was once a row of rundown houses, a cracked sidewalk, a stop sign tilted at an angle, there is now a wall of darkness, dense and impenetrable, stretching as far as you can see. And beyond that darkness, trees. Tall, gnarled, ancient trees, their branches twisting like skeletal fingers against a sky that is no longer black, but a murky, sickly green. The ground beneath your feet is no longer concrete. It is soft, muddy, squelching under your sneakers, and when you lift your foot, you see thick, dark dirt clinging to the soles, mixed with bits of rotting vegetation. You take a step forward, your sneakers sinking into the mud, and a wave of dizziness hits you. It is not just the tilt of the ground. It is the spatial deprivation, the sense that the world you knew has been ripped out from under you, replaced by something alien, something wrong. Your vision blurs, edges of the trees bleeding into the green sky, and you reach out, as if you can grab onto the air to steady yourself. Your fingers close around nothing but that thick, sweet stench, and you gag again, this time spitting onto the mud. The spit lands with a plop, and you watch as it dissolves into the dirt, as if the ground is eating it. Your ears are still ringing, but now there is another sound, a faint rustling like thousands of tiny feet scurrying through the underbrush. You freeze, your body going rigid, every muscle tensing as you strain to hear where it is coming from. Is it coming from the trees? From the mud beneath your feet? From behind you? In the apartment you just left? The temperature drops again, suddenly so fast that you can see your breath, a white cloud puffing from your lips and dissipating into the green air. The sweat on your forehead freezes instantly, tiny ice crystals sticking to your eyelashes, making it hard to see. Your hands shake, not just from cold, but from the pure, unadulterated fear that is sinking its claws into your chest. You look back at your apartment door, still open, a sliver of darkness framing the empty room inside. It is safe there, right? It is familiar. But then you think about the slime on the wall, the way the floor was tilting, the silence that felt like a living thing. Is it really safe? Or is the apartment just as much a trap as this strange, prehistoric jungle in front of you? You stand frozen on the threshold between your familiar concrete driveway and a violently displaced ecosystem. A thick strand of translucent mucus drops from a branch above, sizzling faintly as it eats through the paint of your neighbor's parked sedan. The shadows in the jungle are moving. If your entire street was just ripped from reality, do you stay inside and wait to die, or step into the prehistoric dark? What is your first move? Before your paralyzed muscles can make a decision, a frantic rustling tears through the edge of the fern wall. Your neighbor, a heavy-set man in a torn bathrobe, bursts out from the glowing foliage. He is not running, he is flailing, dragged backward by something attached to his lower calf. It is a parasite the size of a rabid dog, resembling a colossal, pale sea louse. It possesses 10 multi-jointed legs, each ending in a barbed hook that burrows deep into his flesh. The creature's carapace is translucent, revealing a pulsing, dark blue internal organ system. It screeches, a high-pitched, mechanical grinding noise, and sinks its circular, lamprey-like mouth of concentric teeth into his muscle tissue. You hear the wet tear of tendons snapping. The neighbor collapses onto the asphalt, screaming until his vocal cords tear, wildly kicking his other leg. He manages to drag himself toward you, leaving a thick, black trail of viscous blood that smokes slightly as it hits the pavement. Adrenaline floods your system. You sprint forward, grabbing his arm, your boots slipping on his dark blood, trying to leverage his weight away from the edge of the tree line. You manage to kick the heavy parasite. It detaches with a sickening pop, skittering back into the glowing underbrush. But the damage is done. The wound on his leg is a gaping crater, pouring out that unnatural tar like black blood. He is hyperventilating, his eyes rolling back in shock. From his pocket, he pulls out a half-empty plastic water bottle he must have been holding when the shift happened. His hands shake violently as he fumbles with the cap. He pours the purified water directly onto the open, black wound. He intends to clean it. He does not know the biological laws of this new hell. The parasite's saliva, injected deeply into his bloodstream, contains a biologically refined, high-concentration pure sodium. The moment the H2O molecules make contact with the sodium compound within his black blood, a catastrophic chemical reaction ignites. The water does not wash the blood away. It boils instantly. A violent hiss erupts from his leg. You watch in close proximity as the veins in his calf turn violently black, swelling outward against the skin like overinflated rubber balloons. The exothermic reaction generates massive amounts of high-pressure hydrogen gas directly inside his circulatory system. The heat cooks his flesh from the inside out, the smell of burning copper and roasted meat filling your nostrils. The veins pulse outward, the pressure building with nowhere to go. The skin stretches translucent, tearing microscopically. In less than 2 seconds, the accumulated gas pressure exceeds the tensile strength of human tissue. His calf detonates. It is not a cinematic explosion, but a wet, brutal rupture of pressurized meat, bone fragments, and boiling black fluid. The physical shockwave knocks you backward onto the wet street. You wipe your face. Your hand comes away smeared with the hot, viscous, smoking black fluid. The scent of cooked blood and pure sodium fills the air. From the deep jungle edge, a chorus of mechanical clicking begins to amplify. Hundreds of them. Blood mixed with water just turned your neighbor into a biological bomb. You are covered in it. You have 3 seconds before the rest of the swarm catches the scent. Where do you run? You scramble backward, the friction tearing the skin from the palms of your hands. Your boots find traction, and you blindly force your center of gravity forward, sprinting away from the clicking swarm. The street ahead is buckling, the tectonic plates underneath grinding in unnatural directions. You sprint toward a massive rupture in the asphalt. The ground beneath your right foot suddenly gives way. There is a terrifying moment of zero gravity before you crash down a steep incline of shattered concrete and exposed rebar, sliding 30 feet down into a massive jagged impact crater. Your shoulder slams into something hard and metallic, halting your fall. You spit out a mouthful of dirt and open your eyes. You are not leaning against a rock. It is a massive slab of scorched, aerospace-grade titanium. The moonlight filters through the smog, illuminating a faded, stenciled logo on the curved metal. Tagruato. Scattered around the wreckage, half buried in the prehistoric mud, are crushed cargo crates. Through the shattered carbon fiber casing of the main body, the designation Chimpanzee is visible. Dozens of crushed, brightly colored plastic syrup boxes labeled Slusho are strewn across the debris field, their sugary contents long evaporated. You have fallen into a corporate grave. You crawl deeper into the hollowed-out section of the satellite's core, seeking shelter from the open sky above. The metallic walls shield you from the oppressive heat and the humid stench of the alien jungle. Your hands grope blindly in the dark interior, brushing against severed cables and shattered control panels. Your fingers wrap around something soft and pliable. You pull it closer to the dim light, filtering through a crack. It is a sealed emergency survival kit. Tearing open the yellow plastic lining with your teeth, you find an emergency oxygen apparatus. You pull the silicone mask over your nose and mouth and twist the valve. A rush of cool, clinical, compressed oxygen hits your lungs. The physical sensation of breathing clean air is intoxicating. Your wildly fluctuating heart rate begins to stabilize. The burning lactic acid in your thighs slowly dissipates. The heavy, suffocating pressure of the outside world is momentarily blocked out by the rhythmic, mechanical hiss of the air tank. You close your eyes, leaning your head back against the cold titanium bulkhead. You are safe. You have a barrier. The titanium wall behind your head vibrates. It is not an earthquake. It is a localized, rhythmic percussion. Dust and loose debris rain down from the ceiling of the wreckage. The dim light filtering into your sanctuary is abruptly eclipsed as something massive moves over the opening of the crater, completely blotting out the sky. A low-frequency vibration hums through the air, vibrating the fluid in your eyeballs and rattling the fillings in your teeth. It is a roar so deep it bypasses your ears and registers directly in your skeletal structure. You freeze. You turn your flashlight onto the heavy steel internal blast door of the satellite you are hiding behind. The metal is warped outward. Deep, jagged gouges strip away the paint, revealing the shiny steel beneath. 4 parallel lines, spaced 3 feet apart. You thought this corporate bunker was your salvation, but look at the claw marks on the steel door. They are not trying to get in. They were trying to get out. What did you miss? The crushed fuselage groans, tearing open like a tin can. You scramble backward out of the broken satellite, sliding under the chassis of a half-buried, overturned delivery truck at the edge of the crater. You press your stomach flat against the mud. You look up. Striding over the wreckage of Oak Street is a biological impossibility. It is a towering, pale behemoth, standing at least 300 feet tall. Its skin is a ghastly, translucent gray, smooth and slick with moisture, twitching erratically. It has no discernible eyes, only violently flaring nasal slits, and a horrific, multi-layered jaw that snaps blindly at the air. It is in agony. The creature thrashes its colossal four limbs, smashing through building facades, as if fighting invisible enemies. It is violently disoriented by the atmospheric pressure and the faint light of the surface world. Its movements are erratic, fueled by panic and an insatiable hunger. The earth tremors intensify as the behemoth lowers its massive body closer to the crater. From its swollen, pale abdomen, thick bundles of fleshy appendages uncoil and drop toward the ground. These are not limbs, they are feeding tentacles, prehensile digestive tracts acting as blind hunters. Each tentacle is as thick as a tree trunk, slick with digestive enzymes, ending in a lamprey-like maw of inward-facing, jagged teeth. One of the tentacles slithers over the lip of the crater, sliding wetly across the crushed satellite housing. It moves with a terrifying serpentine grace, sweeping back and forth. You are pinned under the truck axle. The rust of the undercarriage scrapes against your back. You pull the oxygen mask off. The hiss of the tank is too loud. You clamp both hands over your mouth and nose. The tentacle slithers over the hood of your truck. The metal groans under its weight. A thick glob of highly corrosive, translucent mucus drips from its maw, landing inches from your cheek. It sizzles as it melts through the mud. The tentacle pauses. It does not have eyes, but it possesses highly sensitive chemoreceptors. It is smelling for exhaled carbon dioxide. It is hunting for breath. The cold sweat freezes to your eyelashes. Your lungs are holding exactly 3.2 liters of air. As the seconds tick by, the oxygen is depleted, replaced by a rapid buildup of carbon dioxide in your bloodstream. Your diaphragm begins to involuntarily spasm, a violent physical reflex demanding you to exhale. The blood vessels in your neck bulge, throbbing against your skin. A deep, burning ache radiates from your chest down into your stomach. Your vision narrows, the edges blackening. If you do not breathe, the lack of oxygen to your brain will induce syncope. You will pass out, and your autonomous nervous system will force a massive, gasping intake of air. The tentacle slowly lowers, hovering just outside the gap beneath the truck, its jaws softly clicking. Your lungs are burning. The carbon dioxide is building up in your blood. If you exhale, it hears you. If you do not, you pass out. What would keep you awake in this agony? Your body demands survival. You carefully, agonizingly shift your weight, dragging your torso backward through the mud while maintaining your sealed lips. Your boots locate the opening of a crushed municipal storm drain, protruding from the soil. Slither backward into the corrugated metal pipe, just as the tentacle aggressively sweeps beneath the truck, tearing the undercarriage away in a shower of sparks. You scramble deep into the tunnel, your elbows scraping raw against the rusted metal. The pipe slopes upward. You crawl blindly in the dark for what feels like hours. The sound of the 300-foot monster receding into a dull, thumping rhythm. Finally, the air shifts. The smell of ocean salt cuts through the stench of sulfur. You claw your way out of the tunnel's exit, collapsing onto a rocky precipice. You are on the edge of the Santa Monica Cliffs, overlooking what remains of the Pacific Ocean. The cold night air hits your face. Your lungs expand violently, greedily sucking in oxygen. You force yourself to stand, your knees buckling. You survived the creature? You survived the zone? You turn back to look down at the ruined city. A 300-foot pale monster is visible in the distance, thrashing violently against the skyscrapers. But as you watch its behavior from afar, the contextual logic of its movement shifts. It is not aggressive, it is terrified. Its erratic thrashes are defensive, and the low-frequency roaring, it is not a war cry. It is a distress call. It is a wail. You slowly tilt your head upward, following the trajectory of the creature's blind, upward-facing jaws. Above the city, the dense marine layer of clouds is moving unnaturally. A massive shadow eclipses the moon. The clouds part, sheared away by a physical mass of incomprehensible scale. It takes your brain a full 10 seconds to process the geometry of what you are seeing. piercing through the cloud cover at an altitude of 4,000 feet, is ahead. It is identical to the creature destroying the city below, but magnified to a scale that defies the structural limits of carbon-based life. The 300-foot monster is just a newborn parasite. The entity descending from the clouds, an adult measuring over 1,200 meters in height, blots out the horizon. Its sheer mass distorts the gravity around it, drawing the coastal water upward in reverse waterfalls. The cliff edge beneath your boots begins to spiderweb with deep fissures. The adult behemoth slowly rotates its mountain-sized head. Though it has no eyes, an overwhelming wave of biological pressure pins you to the rock. It knows exactly where you are. The newborn below stops thrashing and turns in your direction. The ocean behind you is boiling away, retreating from the shore to expose a massive, glowing underwater trench. This is your final choice. The adult is looking right at you. You have nowhere to run, and the ground is collapsing. What do you do? Drop your choice in the comments, and let us see how many of you make it out alive.